Oh my gosh, what a game between France and Wales. Look, this was not a planned show, but when you see a game like that, you just have to get on and have a chat about it afterwards because boy, oh boy, that was an absolute cracker. If you'd like to join me, then let me know in the live chat. And yeah, we can perhaps get some of you guys on if you want to join in. But look, it came out and look at France starting at the beginning of the game. It was just all France, and you're thinking, okay, France are going to do what France can do, and are going to take this one away. But boy, oh boy, you've got to give it to the French, to the Welsh. They stood up, and it was punch for punch during that first 20 minutes. France getting a try, Wales coming back and getting a try, France getting another try, just for with. And also Wales got held up, didn't they, by Gareth Davis before they scored. So I mean, Biggar on a crash ball. How many tens run a crash ball just on the try line? Boy, oh boy, that shows some guts from the boy. So you find very few other tens who'll be wanting to do that. Gareth Davis, oh, what was that pirouette quick kick, mate? Sorry, but that was if you're box kicking or whatever that was. Out your end 22, you cannot do it that low and give your kick chase no chance at all. Okay, France executed extremely well with that chip over from Dulin, I think it was, who collected and gave it to Dupont to score. Great execution, but even so, he should never have been given that time and the ability to do that, or the time to do that, for them to come back. Wales then just come straight back again and score again. 4 tries in the first 18 minutes. Ouch. It looked like look, discipline from both teams, fantastic in that point, right? Neither side giving the opposition the opportunity to turn them over or to exit out of their own 20, out of their own half, getting possession, getting in that half, going away and scoring, and that was just fantastic from both teams. Something we saw early on, we didn't see again later on. I think Wales should probably adjust to this, but Thomas and another player both really trying to rip the ball in the tackle. But I think we saw Wales get that second hand on after contact to make sure that rip wasn't available to them. So that was an interesting one. I think it's Shaun Edwards' thing right there. In that one, and then it sort of went a bit wrong for Wales. Look, up until this point, Dupont had been playing fantastically. Let's be honest, sniping around the ruck and running things. Wales clearly shut those down because he tried to snipe around the ruck. Suddenly saw there was nowhere to go. Turned, looked the other way, nowhere to go. And suddenly he's about 5 or 10 meters back from where he was, and all the momentum just goes straight out of the French attack at that point. So. Well, Wales, you got to again give them credit. They saw something and adjusted in that first half, which was really good for them. Thomas, look, wonderful player, but what's he doing with those loose offloads? Seriously, mate. Giving up the opportunity to that penalty gave Wales the lead. There was a high hit that they gave because Wales, for the first time, didn't take advantage of being in the French half. And that's what we saw in the first half, in the first sort of 20 odd minutes. If they got into the other person's half, they scored from both teams. And then that kind of slackened off the execution or the defense improved. And we ended up being 17 all at half time. Wales, early in that second half, boy, oh boy, did they come out and play well. Got the penalty. After Faletau off the back of the scrum. Interesting about how passive France were in a number of stages. One in their defence, perhaps not having the line speed that they had. Also, their line out defence, mirroring the Wales. And if you're going to mirror somebody, you're always going to be behind them. So if Wales got the lifter up first, they're going to get the ball. And that just meant that they didn't have the players on the ground then to fight against them more. So interesting one there. I guess in that second half, we got into the stage where the referee and the TMO got involved. And boy, oh boy, this is where it looked like the jam slam was definitely on. Wales get Wales get over. I've gone blank as to who the referee was, but he called it as a try. He said he saw a grounding. The TMO goes, it's up. Oh, actually, at that point, it could have been grounded. It might not have been. I can't tell right now. I've got a hand underneath it again. So, and yes, people are kicking off on Twitter, kicking off on Facebook about bizarre decisions. No, I don't think there were any bizarre decisions in this one. I think what you saw were a referee and TMO clearly working through things. Now, you might not agree with some of the stuff, but they clearly worked through and explained what they saw. Bizarre means, how the hell did they come up with that call? At least you know why they came up with the call, because they talked through it all. Do you agree with them? Maybe not. That one, if it had been called no try on the pitch, looks held up, he would not have been able to give evidence of grounding. Just came down to the referee's call. But yeah, that definitely meant that Jam Slam was on at that point. France came back with a penalty. Now, Reece Zammit, cracking game, hitting some gaps, really finding some space in that Welsh defence. You've got to, in that French defence. So yeah, some good homework done there by the Welsh coaches, and Reece Zammit executing it with those ones. Touching down against the base of the flag. Oh, well, I can see that's what the call was. To me, I thought he touched down inside and before it touched the base of the flag. We're talking, yeah, millimeters, aren't we? Wayne Barnes says it touched the base of the flag. I thought it didn't. Hey, he's a way more experienced referee and stuff than I am. But so I say we'll disagree. We'll agree to disagree on that one, I think. But look, then again, I think the previous one where the call was no clear evidence, it was held up. I think Wales got lucky there. They got unlucky here. Those things even themselves out on those ones. Yellow card to the number 3 French player, and you thought, okay, that's it, game over. Wales should close it out from here, and with a penalty from that offence, suddenly it's a 10-point game, 2 scores up. You're thinking, okay, Wales Wales are in control here. And it got even more so that way, didn't it, with that red card? Now, again, the referees were left with no choice in this one at all. Yeah, the play goes in. He catches the play around the head, and if those fingers go near the eyes, then you got to go. Intent doesn't matter. So, whilst LB says in the live chat, weird refereeing. Sorry, no, I don't think it was weird refereeing. I say they clearly explained what they were doing. You're talking about some of the top refs in the world at the moment, in those guys, with Barnes in the TMO truck there. And yeah, was he unlucky to get the red card? Yes, he was, because he couldn't see what he was doing. It wasn't intentional. He didn't deliberately put his hands around the eyes. Did he deliberately put his head around the head? Yes. Are you sometimes going to get near the eyes? Yes. It was reckless. And so off he goes. Yeah, I have no disagreement with the red card, but I do think the player was unlucky. Not because I think around the call, but I think around what his actions led to. And at that point, with that red card, you've got to say it looked all over. France then getting held up and just not getting the ball over the line. How many times? Wales, picked up 2 yellow cards. Yeah, could the yellow cards have arrived earlier? Perhaps they could have done. Could they have picked up a third one? Yeah, maybe. But as Tawa says in the live chat, we completely fell apart in the last 10 minutes. France deserved that win. It got desperate in that last 10 minutes in that defence. When you put under that kind of amount of pressure, you're going to make mistakes that lead to that leads penalties. And if you give up enough penalties, you're going to end up losing players, aren't you? And that's basically what happened there. France managed to bash over from a scrum to make it a 3-point game. And boy, oh boy, it led to that grandstand finish. Dulin, who had a bit of a mixed game, let's be honest. He chipped over for that early try fantastically, but under the high ball when challenged, definitely was a bit hot and cold in that one. So, but hey, he picked up the ball at the end. Basically, Wales just ran out of defenders. France down to 14, Wales down to 13 at that point. And it all came down to just ball retention and eventually getting there. They didn't. They knocked it on. It looked like with Wales with 3 minutes to go, you're like, ooh, stick out the jumper. Is that really going to work? They tried it. No, they got done for sealing off. At that point, I was thinking, oh yeah, kick it into the corner, make France go the full 80, rather than trying to play possession rugby at that point. I know some people would say, hey, no, you should never kick the ball away. There's 3 minutes to go. But yeah, I'm not sure that passing out to these pods, you're giving the referee the opportunity to blow against you, because you are going to be sealing off. That's the whole point of what you're doing there. And that's kind of what happened in that one there at the end. Let's have a quick check on some of the stats in this one. So yeah, four tries to France, 3 to Wales. So they got the try bonus point. Wales picking up the losing bonus point, means there's a 5-point gap now between France and Wales. France are a plus 41 points difference, Wales plus 21. So France need to beat Scotland by over 20 points by the looks of things if they are to take the championship. I don't think that was really on their mind at the end there. It was all just about, let's just win the actual game. Tackles in this game, ouch. 164 made by France, 190 made by Wales. There was a lot of ball in play time in this game. Put it that way. So you've got to say, yes, that's it's big. So a couple of questions in the live chat. What does this mean for the table? So the table reads at the moment, Wales top on 20 points, Ireland second on 15, but they've played all their games, as have Wales. France on 15 points, England on 10, Scotland on 11, England on 10, and Italy on 0. Scotland, France, the next game. If Scotland win, they will come second in the championship. If they lose, France will either come first or second. France need to win by a try bonus point to get up to 20 points, and they need to win by 20 points plus points difference to get ahead of Wales in the points difference. So Wales in the box seat, you're going to say, for the championship, even though they've lost this game because they picked up that losing bonus point. But they were, let's be honest, after the Grand Slam. So Wales, so that's how that one is. Turnovers really hurt Wales, and France in this one. 13 turnovers in this game. They had lots of attacking play. You could see their style. 16 offloads. Yep, absolutely. 16 offloads for the French. And then you saw that. You quite often saw Vakatawa or Fickou on the shoulder, ready for the offload, but not in a position to clear out. And that's why you end up with the 13 turnovers, is because you're using your players for those offloads rather than for the clear outs, and that's what it is. Someone asking where they can find highlights. I don't know. Look, the game just finished 5 minutes ago. You're gonna have to wait for highlights to come up. I'll be honest with you there. Looking at the other stats in this one, solid set piece by both these teams, which is very good. Wales had all of the possession and territory in the first half. In the second half, only 36% possession, 33% territory in that one. Understand. So that you see that how much France were powering away against the Welsh in that, and that's why the Welsh succumbed to the pressure. Whereas in the first half, Wales had that territory and that possession because France was scoring quickly when they got the ball. If you think about their tries, it was a chip over bang score from a kick return. The first one took 5 minutes, whereas Wales took something like 6 or 7 minutes for the 6 minutes for their first try, and their second try was like over 8 phases. So again, Wales took longer to score than France in that first half, but that meant they had the ball and gave their defence some respite, which they couldn't do in that second half. 14 penalties by Wales in the end there. As I say, could have picked up another yellow card. France just with 6 in that one. Looking at some of the player stats, real shame to lose Jalabert to a head knock, and they lost also one of their locks early as well. So I did wonder if those injuries were going to be a problem for France. Obviously, they came through in the end, scoring on what I make it 81 minutes. Who knows what the actual official clock was there. Doolan, 11 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks, but but I say was susceptible under that high ball at fullback today. Teddy Thomas with a good load of work. Vakatawa, 14 carries, was the leading carrier for France. Over on the Welsh side, Alwyn Jones, Wyn Jones, not Alwyn Jones, the prop, 12 carries today. Got through a lot of work. Didn't go very far, admittedly, but was really doing a lot of carrying. As was Faletau, 16 carries. Got through a chunk of work as well on that one. Wyn Jones, though, also picked up 3 penalties in that one to go with that. To artists, France lost the composure when Dupont went off. They definitely were losing their composure. From I think pretty much the 49th minute, but because of the refereeing decisions that were where the 50-50s were going against them, and I can see that they were starting to lose it as they can do. Alwyn Jones, 22 tackles, big shift there. Olivon, 20, Aldrich, 21. Again, that back row of France getting through a shift as well. Quite a lot of work, quite a lot of through Ficau's and Vakatawa's channels as well, 12 and 10. I think, Wales were looking at getting a bit wider than France. France were trying to do a lot around the ruck, where Dupont one-off passes, or Dupont doing little nips, which is why you can see a lot of tackles by Alwyn Jones, Navidi, Tipuric, Faletau, Francis, Jones, all in double figures there. Owens and Beard weren't in double figures. They only got to 9 tackles, so close. So nearly the entire Welsh front pack got through, were into double figures of tackles there. Look, wow, great game, loved it. Go back and watch it again, folks, if you haven't seen it. Definitely catch the highlights if you can't find time for the full game. Some lovely tries in that first half, and that second half, as I say, the referee's decisions will be one of those that will be discussed on Twitter and Facebook, no doubt. For me, I think they were clear about the decision making. You can see how they made those decisions. Therefore, I have no problems with them. Do I agree with them all? No, I don't. But we're all going to disagree with those with things from time to time, or actually probably a lot of the time. Yes, that was a cracking. I think a decent performance by the referees. Clear, concise, took their time to sort things out. Clearly some pressure on the referees towards the end there, saying, look, I don't need this from you guys now. He was definitely feeling the pressure at the end there, as it did descend into a bit of desperation by Wales trying to cling on at the end. So cracking game. Go watch it. Wales come up just short, only 2 points away, or behind, or 3 points away from winning a Grand Slam. For a team that's coming into this, you're thinking, okay, are they going to come 4th or 5th? You've got to say Wales have done very well in this tournament. Sure, they played against 14 men twice. They've had a bunch of decisions go their way in some of the games, but even so, you can't control that. That's the opposition and the referee. You can only play your game and play who turns up on the day, and they've come away with the wins up until this game. So you're going to say cracking Six Nations for Wales. For France, look, hey, they came through. It's been a bit of a strange one. I think that the COVID cases, that postponed gaming against Scotland, really shook up this team. Then they went across to England, lost in Twickenham. So I think that, it's not been the best of tournaments from a preparation point of view for them. A whole bunch of players were left out at the beginning of the tournament, and then were supposed to not be part of the tournament at all. That COVID thing changed it. We saw Ntamak and Vakatawa come back in with very little rugby. So and Ntamak had to play a lot of the game today. So good on he did all right, considering how little rugby he's had recently. On we go then, back to Paris next Friday, Scotland versus France. Wow, it's going to be a cracker. Thank you so much, everybody. For if you like what the channel brings you, check out in the comments below, in the notes below, for a link to my Patreon page, which helps support the channel, bring you all our content. And we'll be back at 8 p.m. New Zealand time this evening to review all of the Super Rugby games.